Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to a galaxy of ministers from Maldives. We are delighted to have you with us, Your Excellency Abdulla Shahid, the Foreign Minister, and Fayad Ismail and Ibrahim Amir. And we also have with us Mr. Ahmad Khalil, State Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abdul Ghafoor Mohammed, Foreign Secretary, Aminat Shabina, Minister Deputy Head of Mission of the Maldives Embassy in New Delhi, to be a High Commission very soon, inshallah. And Ahmed Sarwash Adam, Chief Financial Budget Executive, Ms. Mariam Mitfa Naeem, Director India Division, and Mr. Hussein Shahid, Consultant. We also have several distinguished diplomats from Indian foreign diplomatic missions in Delhi. We are eager to listen to you, Mr. Shahid. We are delighted to find that India is the first destination on your travels abroad, and I know you are going to China very soon. 30 years ago, a Maldivian businessman wanted to topple the then President Abdul Gayoom, and he rang up the then Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, and overnight he sent a few troops to Malé to finish off the coup d'etat that never was. Sri Lankan mercenaries were involved in that. Soon after that, Mr. Gayoom held a press conference in Malé in his office. So we asked him about what he thought about it. I happened to be there at that point of time. And he said, Maldives hardly makes any news. That is, the coup will land us on front page of newspapers. That space you would have had to spend millions of dollars to get on. So, that was an interesting comment to make. And Mr. Shahid was here a few years ago. And now, after that historic election, early this month, our Prime Minister went to your country, and you are here, your President is going to come here. You have had a series of meetings in New Delhi. Mr. Shahid, we would like you to tell us about your mission to Delhi, what all you have done today, and what are your expectations from India. Mr. Shahid.
Excellencies, members of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia, good afternoon. It is a privilege and an honor to be here today, and I thank you for the invitation this afternoon to say a few words and interact with you. Just a week ago, on 17th November 2018, President Ibrahim Salih took his oath of office. In his first address to the people of the Maldives, he outlined the basic tenets of our administration's foreign policy. Firstly, our foreign policy will be based on advancing policies that have a stake in the progress and welfare of our country and its people. We will be directed in our work in the promotion of democracy, human rights, protection of the environment and climate change. We will fortify existing ties with our regional neighbors and bolster our shared role in promoting and retaining enduring peace in the Indian Ocean. Our foreign policy will be based on strengthening existing partnerships and promoting mutually beneficial development partners. As one of its first decisions, the Cabinet decided to rejoin the Commonwealth of Nations. As a clear demonstration of our administration's belief that engagement, not isolationism, is the answer. In subsequent days, the frayed relationship with our traditional partners will be renewed and further strengthened. And one such time-tested traditional relationship is the India-Maldives relationship. The relationship that the Maldives and Maldivians have with India and its people is special and unique. Our people have been traveling from one country to the other for decades. Our economies and our fortunes are tied to each other. Our traditions and our culture, our language and our heritage are intertwined. India is one of our closest neighbors, our constant friend, and our consummate partner. This is why my first official trip as Minister of Foreign Affairs after taking office and within a week is to Delhi. We are here to assure the Indian government and its people that the administration of President Soli values and cherishes our relations with India and its people and all our regional neighbors. We want to assure the government and the people of India and indeed the international community the value President Soli places on the Maldives-India relationship. We realize the role and the important position we hold in promoting a safe and secure Indian Ocean, in promoting peace and prosperity in this region. The Indian Ocean region is home to a number of countries. It is the center through which a large volume of global trade passes through every day. It is therefore important to secure the peace and safety of those that depend on the Indian Ocean and those that travel through it. We therefore reaffirm our commitment to the Indian government and its people and all countries of the Indian Ocean region that our commitment to this cause. President Soli and his administration is committed to renewing our good standing and our good name in the international community. We are committed to taking back our activities, our active stand on climate change as a true defender of island communities everywhere, of the fate of our future generations. We are committed to promoting and protecting human rights in the Maldives and abroad. We will ensure accountability, good governance, and a government free of scourge of corruption, essential components for a prosperous country. We are confident of the support of our partners, our friends in this endeavor. Today, I have met the External Affairs Minister and also the Minister of Defense, and our discussions have been very fruitful, and we have agreed that President Soli will be visiting India on his first maiden travel abroad on the 17th of December 2018, just a month to the day since taking office. It is symbolic that he be in Delhi on the 17th of December. We are here in Delhi, my cabinet colleagues, the Honorable Economic Development Minister Fayyaz Ismail and the Honorable Finance Minister Ibrahim Amir. We are here to assure that we will work with the Indian government, with the Indian people and the international community. Just to let you know that we are, as Maldives, back in business. We do not want to hide behind the scourge of corruption anymore. And thank you very much, and I will be happy.
Questions, I invite the Finance Minister if you wish to say anything, add toward the action of your Foreign Minister.
Thank you very much. I actually wanted to highlight the government that we come in is we are facing financial difficulties. We expect to face cash flow management difficulties, and also as you may have heard, during the past 5 years there was huge corruption, and the projects that were awarded were at inflated prices. So the hope on the budget is very much large. So during this visit, we are looking into seeking budget support, and also we are actively seeking private investment from Indian businessmen on public sector investment projects that we have. Mainly we are seeking water and storage, funding investment for water and storage, and also healthcare, our healthcare investment we are looking into investing in tertiary hospital. And there are other projects like our I-Heaven project, which is the transshipment harbour. And there are other several projects that we are actively seeking for indirect investment, private investment from Indian businessmen. Thank you very much.
5 years of instability in the Maldives, especially with respect to the investment regime that we had. We will be trying to resolve all pending matters between Maldives and Indian investors to ensure the credibility of the new government in the Maldives and our open policy for investments. With this regard, we are hoping to enter into a bilateral treaty with India on investment guarantee schemes. We are hoping that we will be able to put behind us the many issues that we have. Mr. Gupta is one of the people that has had this experience with us. And we attract more investors from India especially, and more people.
Good Day, Excellency. I have a question in the trade which you planned with India. Do you want that you'll be having it in rupee exchange, or you'll be looking for a dollar bilateral rupee trade or a dollar trade? Rupee trade will be very helpful to both.
My cabinet colleague, the Honorable Finance Minister, he has been meeting with the finance officials this afternoon, and I'm sure that he will take this into consideration, and we will, of course, reach an agreement on what is best for the two countries.
Next question.
I am Professor Dr. D.S. Agarwal. First of all, I want to honor you with my some gift. My question is, I am in the field of health and wellness, Ayurveda, yoga. So what are the possibilities where we can set up some healthcare centers? Tell me the options available.
Please, we are disturbing the speak very loud.
Well, thank you very much for the very generous offer, and we will take into consideration. As a very youthful population in the Maldives, we are ready to receive your great gift of health ideas. Thank you.
Smita Sharma.
Smita Sharma from the Tribune. During the election campaign, we heard statements from your party saying that you will not allow land grab in Maldives or monopolizing of the economy, which included, in fact, taking a relook at what the Chinese projects meant. Is there going to be a recalibration there, or are there some projects that you're rethinking about in terms of the Chinese investments? And, sorry, just a follow-up questions. I know the issue of visas is already figured in the statements. Can you just take us through forward if there are any further concerns in terms of Indian professionals in Maldives, if that's something that's already been eased out and is going to be rolled out further?
I will answer the easy part first. The visa issue. The professionals, Indian professionals, will be getting visa much more easier than they did during former President Yao Ming's time. He had purposely prevented the Indian professionals from traveling to the Maldives. Today, during my discussions with the External Affairs Minister, we had come to an understanding that we will try and sign an agreement, a new agreement on the visa regime between the two countries, which would provide for easier access for Maldivian students and their families, and Maldivians who are seeking medical treatment in India to be able to travel to India easier, and also for Indian professionals to be able to travel to Maldives and work. On the land grab, we are in the process of assessing how much as a country we owe to China and other countries. My colleague, the Honorable Finance Minister, would be in a better.
We came into the cabinet just a week ago. So right now we are looking into the details of all the sovereign guarantees and all the other loans that we have taken at inflated prices. Right now we have not actually reconciled all the information that we have from different ministries. So I think next week I will have a press conference with more details of all the sovereign guarantees that were given, and also the total debt that was accumulated within last 5 years. It is very difficult because all these things were done in secrecy, and we don't really know the true picture right now. So I think it will still take some time, but I am hopeful that in a week's time I can go to the press and say exactly what is the sovereign guarantee, the total sovereign guarantees that were given, and what is the Chinese portion of it, and also I will give to the press what is the actual debt that was accumulated last 5 years. Thank you.
That you want to maintain friendship both with India and China. China cannot replace India and India cannot replace China. What in present times are you expecting India to do for you, and what?
He failed. He has not been able to play one country against the other. We are coming into office knowing quite well that we don't need to pretend to be the puppet master. In your opening remarks, you have said how the Indian government and the people have reacted to the emergencies, the national emergencies we have had in our country. In 1998, you just recalled the invasion by a group of mercenaries threatening the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Maldives. How prompt the Indian government was in responding to the request by President Gayoom. In 2004, we had the tsunami, and during the tsunami, the entire country was inundated by the waves. While you had your naval ships steaming off from the ports of the mainland to your Indian Ocean territories to assist them, you had your naval ships steam off to the Maldivian archipelago to assist us with the necessary requirements. A couple of years back, we had a major water crisis in Mali city, which houses over 100,000 people. 1/3 of the population is housed in the capital city of Mali. And it was India who came to our aid by airlifting water from Indian bases, military bases to Mali. These are experiences which we have learned, and these are experiences which generations will learn. That when it comes to India, India is always ready to assist us as a nation, as brothers and sisters, and as friends. We may try to distance ourselves, but geographically we can't. We are, whether we like it or not, we are stuck, sir. We are going to be with you for ages and ages. And better we understand the geographic relationship, the ethnic relationship, the cultural relationship, and the natural relationship amongst us, and come to terms with it. And I think the way President Solih's government is redirecting its foreign policy towards the region is going to create huge successes in the region and internationally.
Yes. Hello, my name is Sanjay. I work with German Television South Asia Bureau. My question is this radicalization, growing radicalization in Maldives. This has been one of the concerns in recent past, and President Yamin has been blamed for facilitating radicalization in the island nation. What your government is going to do to address this concern? Second is related to to our visa, like German television crew, we were deported from the country in 2015-16. You are aware of that, and we are banned for 10 years. So will you allow us to visit your country again? Thank you.
Once again, I will answer the media question first. Yes, we will allow you to come back. And I invite you to come as soon as possible on my invitation and report about the new developments in the Maldives.
Thank you.
On the second question about radicalization, it's an issue not only in the Maldives but also in South Asia. We have been seeing increased radicalization, radicalization to the extent that a lot of people are being drawn into this jihadi mentality, where they find it more appealing to go to abandon their families and more appealing to go to war-torn zones like Syria and Iraq and martyr themselves according to their belief. As a nation, we are trying to address, as a government, we will address this. We have created we have split the education ministry into two ministries now in order to be able to address the fundamentals at the curriculum level. We have an education ministry and a higher education ministry, making it easier for us to attend to the issue at the curriculum level. And also we have created a Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, which would give a role for the civil societies to get involved more in the efforts to increase awareness amongst the population. So the role of the civil society and the increased awareness programs plus the attendance to the matters in the curriculum are the ways that we have
terrorist group operating and other things, jihadi movement related to Syria. But there is one thing which is going on in Maldives long before. That is the Saudi influence, the Wahhabi influence in Maldives. How do you feel to tackle this? Because this Wahhabi influence breeds.
Been a Muslim country since 1153, and we have had a moderate Islamic outlook. We are the 100%, the only 100% Muslim country in the Indian Ocean. We are proud of it, and we intend to maintain it. We will work through the International Islamic Conference, Islamic Cooperation Council, and work with the Islamic countries in order to minimize the radicalization of our societies.
Ian?
Hi there, thanks for coming. Ian Marlowe from Bloomberg News. I was just wondering if you could maybe, and this is a question both for Minister Shahid and Minister Amir, if you could maybe talk a little bit about specific projects or specific types of development projects that your new administration has concern with regards to the Chinese investment and the sort of inflated loans and projects you mentioned that you want to re-examine. I'm just wondering if there's anything off the top, whether it's ports, whether it's land deals or things that you could sort of maybe flag that are of particular concern. Thanks.
Thank you very much. The main projects that were undertaken by the Chinese are the Chinese bridge we have, China Maldives Transit And also we have, they have invested in the airport development project in Kurile. And there are other projects like the housing units, 7,000 housing units that are being built in Urumale. We believe that most of these projects are at inflated prices. Mainly these are the projects that we are looking into. But you have to understand that all these projects are now completed. The bridge is complete, and we have a runway that is already developed, but we don't have the terminal. And also the work on the housing units are ongoing, so we cannot actually do much about that in terms of renegotiating the project and other things. But I think going forward, our main objective will be to have to reduce the cost of these infrastructure projects, because as you may have known that some of the hospitals that one of the hospitals that was developed, it was for $140 million. Only the outer structure is for the $440 million, but we had a proposal for $54 million. So you can compare how inflated the projects were. So mainly because the corruption level within last 5 years, it was so, in all these projects, they had corruption involved. You can see that from MMPRC report. It was on Al Jazeera, so you can see that. I think if you can eliminate corruption and if you can work on actually having the right costing mechanism of all these public infrastructure projects, then going forward the burden on the budget will be limited. We actually talked with the finance ministry officials just right with the meetings we had before to actually assist us with capacity building of these costing these projects and other experts. So I think going forward, the only thing that we can do is to minimize corruption and to have a mechanism where we can actually cost these projects at the right.
Projects of Indian investors went into disarray when the coup happened. What is the government going to do about it? And second is, on this visit to India, have you been promised any help by the government?
Thank you very much. The government of India has been most generous. They have promised that they will help us with the budgetary support, and also the currency swap agreements will be renewed, and the infrastructure development of sewerage and sanitation, water, fresh water on the islands, the projects that the government of India will assist. We are working out the details, and we intend to be able to come to an agreement and sign it during or just before President Saleh's visit on the 17th of December. Minister Fayyaz will respond to the other question.
As you have correctly mentioned, there are a couple of projects originated from India which has been suspended by the previous government. Whilst we do not know the extent of these projects, we have already started the process of re-looking at this to ensure a resolution is reached which is fair for both parties. So in the next couple of weeks, we will be in a better position to know the exact extent of these issues. It's not only with India, it's with other countries as well. We are anticipating at least $1 billion of claims against the Maldives from foreign parties, and we are looking to resolve this so that the burden on the country will be minimized. hopefully we will be able to resolve these issues, especially with our Indian investors.
Maldives was one of the first countries to sign up for the BRI. What is the stance of your government? Will you continue to carry on with it? Number one. Number two is you have two heavyweights who are on your side, both former presidents. Do you see a role for Mr. Gayoom and Mr. Shahid in your government, Mr. Minister?
Only we are right. We intend to continue our cooperation with not only China, but also with other countries, especially the regional countries. So engagement will be with the international community as a whole. We do not intend, in my open remarks, as I said, we have come out of isolationism and we are open for business. We are going to be an engaging country. On the role of President Gayoom and President Nasheed, it's a blessing that we have two former presidents on our side, and their parties are fully engaged. Their parties are committed parties in the coalition, and we continue to benefit from their wisdom.
One of the reasons that kind of triggered off the souring of relations between New Delhi and Malé was the way the free trade agreement was bulldozed through the Maldivian parliament overnight with no opposition present. Have you had any sort of a review of that? And B, internally, how is it going to look like in terms of your relationship with the opposition? Or is it going to be a scenario where every time the government comes, a new government comes into place and there's going to be a new recalibration as to where you move towards India or to China? How is your new relationship going to look like with the past president?
I was a member of parliament when the parliament approved the free trade agreement. So was Honorable Fayyaz. We both had to leave the parliament in order to join the executive. We both resigned from the parliament on the 17th of November. The parliamentary session which approved the FTA was held without our knowledge. As a member of parliament, none of us were informed of the proceedings of the convening of the session. We later found out on newspapers that it took 10 minutes for the parliamentary committee, relevant parliamentary committee, to review a 1,000-page document. I've been asked several times on this, and my answer is that as foreign minister, I've asked my officials to review the document which I have not had the opportunity to review as a member of parliament. I can comment on it only after my officials are able to give me a response on it. We have a new Attorney General in town, and the Attorney General needs to review the document. And once it is reviewed, we will be able to make an informed judgment. Yes, on the relationship with former presidents. Now, we are not going to be a revengeful government. We do not want to go after President Yamin or anybody for that matter. But we are a government which has come into office promising that we will bring the people who have been committing crimes, crimes against the state, against the people, the financial crimes, the corruption scandals. These needs to be investigated. The deaths of journalist Ridwan and the abduction of Ridwan and the death of Yamin Rashid and the death of Dr. Afrashim Ali and several other unknown deaths needs to be investigated. Those who are responsible should be brought to justice. The President has formed two presidential commissions, one to investigate the financial crimes, the other one to investigate the unknown deaths. and abductions. Now, it would be unfair for me to sit here and say that person X or Y would be prosecuted or would be investigated, because we came into office promising rule of law. It would be up to the prosecutor general to decide, based on the investigations, to whom that they will prosecute or not. As a government, we are not going to be revengeful, and we will not go after anybody by ourselves. It will be up to the law, and the law will only decide who gets prosecuted, who gets what.
Projects, ongoing projects and new areas of cooperation. I request you to give us some details about it.
As I sit here and talk today with you, the joint exercises of those is ongoing in the Maldives. It's a joint exercise between the Maldives National Defense Force and the Indian Defense Forces. It has been an exercise that has been going on for decades. We are committed for it. We will continue to hold it. We have our defense personnel trained here. Over 1,000 personnel have been trained here, and today the Minister offered more training opportunities for our defense forces. We have been requesting for a Dornier aircraft to assist us surveillance, to conduct surveillance of our territorial waters. The Ministry of the EM promised that it will be delivered soon. During the President Jammeh's time, President Jammeh ditched the Dornier gifted by India to an aircraft which he could get from Pakistan, because the Pakistanis offered it through a loan. So Jammeh government, of course, knowing how they operate, they prefer a loan because they could get a commission out of it. But we would prefer the gift, and we will continue to go with the Indian government and obtain this Dornier. We also have the 2 helicopters operating in the Maldives, which the Yemen government had an issue with. But these are 2 machines that we are using for humanitarian purposes of transferring medical emergencies patients from islands to the capital city of Mali. A total of 164 people have been transferred on medical emergencies under this scheme. Also, search and rescue operations have been conducted by these 2 machines, and we will continue to engage ourselves in this.
That brings the press conference to an end. Thank you very much. Before I ask my colleague Munish Gupta to propose a vote of thanks, we want to appreciate your gesture of accepting our invitation and coming here with your entire delegation, Mr. Minister. We are delighted to make you, Mr. Ismail and Mr. Amir, honorary members of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. You are most welcome to come and spend some time and interact with our members anytime you wish, whenever you are in India next.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We also have a special gift for you. This is a specially designed mug to celebrate our 60th anniversary. So we are going to give it so that you will remember the FCC whenever you have coffee in Maldives next year. Delighted that I see so many diplomats here. Several people who are actually not members of the club, but you're most welcome to join the club. We have thrown the club open to foreign diplomats also, because we are trying to promote this as a place where foreign diplomats and foreign journalists, Indian journalists can
notice. And as Venkat said that Foreign Correspondents Club is becoming a newsmaker place. And this certainly, all three of you coming here and addressing the media has certainly, taken that further. I just have one question, or rather a comment to make. And Honorable Fayaz knows that I must have made 100 trips to Maldives at a particular time. And of course I love the country and the people. But at that time when I was there, media was slowly coming back to actually being free and performing duties. It was certainly not the case during President Ayub's time, and then it became worse during President Yameen's time. Is that something that this government is certainly going to pay attention to allow a free, fair, local media to actually mushroom, grow, and this is also one way that you can promote tourism, in the Maldives. And certainly, like you heard from the German television people here, a lot of the people from India and around were banished during the previous government's time to not enter the Maldives or not to report from there.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's a very appropriate question that you have asked. Being this journalists, so many journalists are gathered here. During President Yameen's time, there was a law enacted by Parliament called the Anti-Defamation Act. The act was indeed used to harass, get and prosecute the journalists and to close down some of the TV stations and newspapers. And it did close down some of the newspapers under this law. There were heavy fines placed on TV stations. Journalists were put in jail. One of the first pledges of President Saleh was that he would revoke this act. One of the final acts in Parliament for me as a member of Parliament was to submit a bill to revoke the bill on the Anti-Defamation. And on my last day in Parliament, I had the privilege of joining my colleagues in voting to pass that bill. And the first bill President Saleh has ratified in his office is this bill. So President Saleh's regime is going to be characterized by freedom of expression, freedom for journalists and media. And that is why I would like to welcome our German friend to come and visit us. My colleagues from the embassy will contact you and we will welcome you in the morning.
Thank you for joining us. Let's move outside for some tea.